situation, right? Cover price and advertising. And advertisers are so willing to believe anything negative about the news of the world. Anything. These people who have long histories of advertising with the news of the world. We have grocers pulling out just because they don't want to be in it. And no one wanted to be in it this week. A dual revenue situation, right? Cover price and advertising. And advertisers are so willing to believe anything negative about the news of the world. Anything. These people who have long histories of advertising with the news of the world. We have grocers pulling out just because they don't want to be in it. And no one wanted to be in it this weekend. No one. And that has to surely give you a... We keep saying it would have blown out. It was getting worse.
How hard did you fight to save this paper? And secondly, can you give this room a promise that you will do everything in your power to try and restore the reputation of these innocent people in this room? You all have to go out and find a new job, and we've been utterly tarnished by this hacking scandal, and we are all entirely innocent.
Look, Hayley, there's probably no one more than you that's on the sharp end of this, right? Your incident room in your office has been turned into an incident room practically, and you have been fighting the fight with these allegations on a weekly basis. And I think it was Colin who came up with the great line, you know, for an investigative newspaper, we're being investigated more than any other media organisation, and you have, and your ability to keep going. So when you... I think there is, of course, the reputation of the newsroom, the current newsroom of the News of the World is paramount. And I will do everything I can, not just to restore the reputation of the current newsroom and under the leadership of Colin, but also to find you all jobs, if I can, as many of you as I can, in the company. And that is a testament to itself. And by the way, just I know you all feel that everyone thinks you're tainted and everything. Every single title could not wait to start approaching people from the News of the World. Couldn't wait. Your reputations as journalists, your reputation as good journalists, your reputations as ethical journalists is testament to that. And I think that you will be surprised at the hope that's there. At the moment, you are rightly, and I think in maybe a week's time or something, we can perhaps do another town hall like this. Because although it was a decision the company made, I feel it's absolutely right for you all. I can understand the anger, but all to have the opportunity to challenge me on all the things that you have done today, but also to ensure that I keep my promises to you today.
Rebecca, can you tell us why you think this happened, why there was a corrupt core at the News of the World developed?
Well, again, with the criminal investigation, it's sort of impossible to comment because I'm tied by some visibility I've seen. But look, we one of the problems now is how we dealt with it at the time. And I don't mean about any particular individual or person or anything. I was on it. But what happened was, in 2006, is everybody drew the line in the sand in the wrong place. Everybody. And what happened was, News International drew the line in the sand in the wrong place. The industry, for its own reasons, drew the line in the sand in the wrong place. And the police, for whatever reason, drew the line in the sand in the wrong place. And it's pretty evident now that the police investigation, from what we've seen from the new one, they said there was nothing else to see, and we believe them. So I'm not saying there wasn't why it happened is pretty obvious. The police stood up repeatedly and have repeatedly said until January this year that there's nothing to see. And we went, absolutely, there's nothing to see, and the rest of the industry in the 07 Select Committee went, there's nothing to see. Colin came in, new practices, we are where we are today. So I think that is definitely part of our problem, which is this sort of feeling amongst the pushing of the disclosure in the civil, the feeling of a cover-up. It's what our rivals think, and so I think it's been a mixture of things, but eventually it will come out why things went wrong and who was responsible, and that will be another very, very difficult moment in this company's history.
Thanks. But if you were at the helm for some of that time, then therefore you have been tainted. But you've also worked as editor of The Sun as well, and people might think then that The Sun is tainted. And I think, and I don't want to be nasty, but I think a lot of people think that you should resign, and then some of that taint is going to go away.
I know people think that. Look, I was called, I was away, and I was in 2006, I was editor of The Sun, and I got a call, like most of you, to say what had happened with the arrests. That's how I first found out. A few weeks later, I was called by the counter-terrorism squad to say that I had been not just a victim of Mulcair's, but one of his highest frequency accessing my voicemails. And a lot of that was personal because of who I was married to at the time. And a lot of it was obviously because I was editor of The Sun. And so I 2 weeks into that, I was completely ring-fenced from any of I was the editor of The Sun and put in a sort of, because I was a potential victim. Now obviously it was the thought that police did ask me if I wanted to prosecute. And clearly that was a rather silly suggestion from them. But my case for them was very interesting because it was a concrete case. And now I saw my documents for the first time a few months ago. So, look, I know what our rival newspapers are saying about me. I'd be stupid not to have it seen. And they've said it about me for, 15 years. But the fact is, I'm very incredibly proud of my editorship of the News of the World and incredibly proud of my editorship of The Sun. And I'm just as sorry as you are that that people we trusted let us down. And that's the case. And if being betrayed is a resignation issue, well, maybe I've just read it wrong. But I think I'm much more useful leading this company through this. And I know that what's happened to you is the most important. My priority right now is to push through this and try and make sure that you guys get as much hope as possible. And to the point earlier about arrogance for working for us, it isn't that. It's just that if I can find you, we've got 3 other great titles too. And if I can find you all something that you want to do, then great.